We were checked out dual naturally with an instructor, and it's interesting at both OTU and heavy conversion units, all the instructors were people who had done a tour of ops, and as such they knew the score, they knew what they're talking about, they had empathy, and the early Halifax was grossly underpowered, and it swung very considerably to the left as you open up your throttles. And of course, different from, if you have a look at most of your civilian aircraft today, they have what's known as tricycle undercarriage, a nose wheel up the front, and they're a level platform. You don't, when you walk along to take your seat in the modern passenger aircraft, you're not walking uphill or downhill, you're dead flat. With your tail wheel, as the Lancs and Stirlings and Halifaxes had, you didn't get initially, as you open up your throttles and gathered speed along the runway, you didn't get any control from your rudders and tailplane until you could get them up in the air into the slipstream. So initially, all your directional control was via the throttles. If you were swinging to the left, the only way you could counter that would be to open up the throttles on the ports on the left side a bit more to counter it. Once you got the tailplane and rudders up in the air, you had some additional control, but up until that point it was all via throttles. And so you could be a considerable distance along the runway at times before you could get any control from your rudders and tailplane, and so you were pretty busy, and you used up quite a lot, particularly with the underpowered engines. You used up quite a lot of runway to get it off the ground. Later on, with the radial engines, they oddly enough swung quite, and mind you, another 25% more power, but they swung to the right. So you had to do, going from the early to the Mark IIIs, the operational heli, you had to do a fairly quick mental adjustment to get used to controlling the swing to the right instead of the swing to the left. But additionally, of course, there was the fact that with the additional power, you got the tail up in the air a lot earlier, and you had a lot more control from quite early in the piece.